G'day guys, welcome back. I'm doing a little test on a new product today on one of my little placemats that I've made a few months ago. Not a placemat, a little coaster. I have got placemats in the same thing. Little coaster, MDF timber. This product is by Cabots Benchtop Clear. It's a gloss. It says on here heat resistant. On the back of the tin it says it resists heat, like from hot cups and mugs, so hopefully that will work. It says do not shake the can. So we take the lid off and you can see it's quite milky in there. It says stir well. So it's got like these little brown streaks through it. Give it a bit of a stir with my spatula. I thought maybe it would be clear, but it's not. It's this milky colour. But it says stir well, so let's stir well. I guess that's about enough, isn't it? So I think what I'll do is, because it's going to be really hard to tip this, I'm going to just tip it into a little medicine cup and then I can do the pour. I think that'll do. I don't think it's changing at all. Let me just get a little medicine cup. These are great, these little plastic cups. I use them for my flip cups, my little flip cup pours. And then they're also really good to pour some varnish into, to actually varnish your little pour. So let me see if I can tip some of this out without making too much of a mess. I think I only need about half a little cup. And I've got a little foam brush that I'm going to use today. Just move that out of the way. I'll hammer the lid on in a minute when I'm done. Okay, so the last time I used this product, it cracked. I'm going to show you a coaster. If I can find one. I put them away now. I should have left them out for you to see. Don't know if you'll be able to pick it up. It's got a lovely shine on it, but can you see the cracks? So with this I poured it on and then tilted it off, but obviously it was too thick. And you can see there where it's cracked. So this time I'm going to use a little foam brush and see if I can do a better job. I think this product obviously needs to be lots of really thin layers. Actually, that's probably way too much. Maybe I can use some of that for tomorrow. I'll keep that. And I'm just going to very lightly just brush it from the outside, from the inside out, like that. I didn't want to use a regular brush because I didn't want brush marks. I thought maybe the foam would be better. So it's only just covering it really. I'll go down like that. So hopefully I won't get brush marks. And I don't think it's a product that you should really go over and over and over and over. Just leave it. So that's pretty good for a first coat. I guess the trade-off between having cracks and having slight brush marks. I mean, you can see little lines, but hopefully once it's dry and had a few coats we won't see that. I'll have to have a look on here and see if it tells me how long between coats. Oh, let's have a look. Allow to dry for a minimum of 2 hours for best results. Okay, so 2 hours between coats. I'll come back and do another one in a couple of hours. Alrighty guys, it is the next day and woohoo, no cracking. I'll bring it up and show you. So as I said last time, when I just poured it on, the next day was cracking. So nice and shiny. I don't know if you can make out sort of very fine lines up and down where the foam brush kind of left a mark. So what I'm going to do now is, because the first coat did not crack, and if it's going to crack it's usually on that first one when it touches the paint, I'm going to pour the next coat on because I need to try and get rid of those little lines. I don't like those, that's why I pour. But if it just needs a thin barrier between the paint and the next coats, that's fine. I'm happy to brush it on and then pour the next. Now this was the leftover from yesterday. I just covered it with a little cup and give it a bit of a swirl. So that's it there, the Cabots Benchtop Clear gloss. Move that out of the way. Just give this a bit of a swirl. I don't think it needs stirring again. Oops, nearly dropped it. So I'm going to pour that on. That was probably only about 10 mils, only about a third left, about a third of that little cup that was left. Okay, so we'll tilt to cover the surface first, all the way around, and then I'll start tilting to cover the sides. Let it roll off, cover the sides, and then give it a good tilt to make sure that I'm not leaving too much on there. All the way around. So it's going to be a really, oops, dripping on my cup. It's a little plastic cup that I've turned upside down. What was I saying? Oh, hopefully just with 2 coats more of the this pouring over the top will hopefully be enough to cover those brush marks. Otherwise I'll have to do another coat. So this has had 1 coat where it was brushed on, or with a little foam brush, and then the next coat poured on. That's 2 coats. So hopefully 1 more coat of pouring on, and that will cover the brush strokes. Let's hope so anyway. And I'm hoping that it was just that, you know, the bit of a barrier there between the paint and the subsequent or following coats that will stop the cracking. Should do. When I did my other coasters, when I trialled with this, it was that first coat that cracked. Maybe I didn't leave the paint long enough to cure. I only left it about a week probably, and then I coated it. So maybe, whereas these have been sitting for about 3 or 4 months while I thought about what to do with them. So maybe that makes a difference too, who knows. Okay, I think that's probably enough tilting. I can see a little bit of a ridge just there, so I'm going to just bring it back just to smooth out that little ridge there. So I don't want to see any sort of blobs of this gloss. And then if I just wipe underneath, catch any little drips. I am going to I am going to pop some cork underneath. Just wipe my hands. I'll show you the cork that I've got. It's just over here. These are 10 centimetre coasters. fix them there. So if you're going to get 10 centimetre coasters, make sure that you get 10 centimetre cork as well. If you can only find 9 centimetre coasters, well then, you know, obviously look for 9 centimetre cork. And that will just sit on there like that. We'll glue it on once the coasters dry fully, and then we'll have a lovely finish. So that's what I'm going to do. Righto. I'll leave it like that. Cross fingers. Come back tomorrow and see how it's drying. Okay, let's have a look and see how this has dried. So the first coat, I did the brush on with the foam. The second coat, a couple of hours later, I did the pour on in a thicker coat just to see how it would go. So let's have a look. Perfect. You can still see the lines from where the brush brushed everything on. Well, it was a foam brush, but nevertheless you can still see them a little bit, but no cracking. So obviously it just needed that really thin barrier of varnish between the paint and the next layer. So that's what I was hoping it would happen. But yeah, you see how you can still see those lines. So I'm going to give it another coat now. I'm just going to pour it on. I've put enough in my little cup for 2 coats, so I'm going to do one now. I'm going to wait a couple of hours, and then I'm going to come and do another one. So that would be the brush on, the pour on, and then these 2. So that would be 4 coats. And I'm hoping that after that I won't be able to see those brush marks anymore. If I had one of those silicone makeup sponges, I would have used that for the first coat instead of the foam brush, but I just didn't have one at the time. When I go out to the shops later, well, tomorrow, it's Good Friday today. When I go to the shops tomorrow, when the shops open again, I'll see if I can get one of those little silicone makeup sponges, the foundation sponges, and see if maybe that will give a better outcome. Because you won't see any brush strokes at all, I would think. But I'll give that a go. But for now, 3rd coat of the varnish being poured on. And I'll just pick some of this up and just go around this side so that I make sure that that's covered. And then I'll give it a quick torch. Make sure that we haven't got any bubbles at all. But again, I don't want to leave too much on, just in case it does crack. So I'm happy to pour it on, but pour off the excess as well. But so far so good. Haven't cracked like my first one did, so I'm just going to bring the weight of that back into the center again, because it was sort of up here. So we'll just distribute it evenly across the surface again and give it a quick torch. And as I said, I'll come and do another coat in a couple of hours. I can't see any bubbles, but it's just a safeguard. All right, back in a couple of hours. Okay guys, I am back. It's been about 5 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks. So this was the Cabots Bench gloss that I've used on this little coaster. I'm just going to turn my kettle on. I did bring it to the boil just a couple of minutes ago, but I'll bring it to the boil again. And I've got some coffee in there. We'll fill it up with boiling water, pop it on, set the timer for a minute, and see what happens. It's got a beautiful, beautiful shine to it. So So I'm really happy with that. Let's just hope that it's going to be heat proof. It does say on the can that it's heat proof, so we will see. Alright, that's boiled. Let's pour some boiling water into there. And straight on. Set the timer for a minute. See how we go. Cross fingers. I really need something that's going to work. I guess I could just do resin. You know, there's a lot of talk out there of what to use for coasters and what sticks and what doesn't stick and leaves a ring and doesn't leave a ring. And I guess if you want something that's definitely going to be heat resistant, go resin. I personally haven't tried resin yet. I should do. I've got some there. I just haven't had the time, I guess, or the inclination to use it. But if this doesn't work, then I think I will use the resin, because I have got coasters there and I do want to use them. So I will have to try the resin, see how that goes. Look at my lovely kettle. Don't you love that? My house is sort of coastal Hampton, so everything's white and grey and this light timber. So I even got a matching kettle with the timber edge on it. It's gorgeous. Matching toaster too. Alright, now I'm just having idle chit chat, hey, while we're waiting for the timer to go off. So I poured this on the 16th of April, and I did a few coats, 3 or 4 coats. So today's the 19th of May, so it's had a good 4 weeks, 5 weeks, at least a month anyway. So hopefully it'll be good, and then I can coat all my coasters. Come on, timer. What's the saying about a watched kettle? Never boils. It just boiled, but now I'm waiting. With high hopes, because the last one I did didn't work. I had that slight little ring on the Repco, the engine enamel. Did you see that video on the coasters? I did the engine enamel. That left a tiny little ring. You know, I don't think I've turned this on. I don't think I pressed start. See, I didn't do that. Little lights aren't flashing. Anyway, I'm sure a minute's up, so silly me. All right, let's have a look. Now let's lift and see if it sticks. Uh-oh. It's sticking. Did it leave a ring? Did it? There's a tiny little ring there. That's very disappointing, considering it says that it's heat proof. I can actually see a little ring there. I'll bring it up closer to you. Well, that's very disappointing. You see the little ring there? You can see it shining along here. There we go, you can see it. So yeah, disappointing result, I'm afraid. I guess if you're going to keep using, you know, your coasters over and over, they're going to get multiple rings on them. But hey, I mean, if you're just looking at it like that from a distance, you're not going to see it. It's only when you bring it up close and, you know, you look under the light that you're going to see it. So I guess it's up to you guys if you want to use it or not. It's certainly a lovely shiny finish. Okay, so there you go. 2 tries, 2 fails. If you have any suggestions on what else I can try or you'd like me to try on these coasters, because I have got more coasters, I can certainly have a go and see if anything out there works. Okay, bye for now.